So I was going through the discussion board a few minutes ago, and one of the students, Adam, asked a question that it was just easier for me to um, do a quick video about because it's not a complicated answer, but it's a little long answer. So the question is, how does a relational database differ from a data structure container from other programming languages in how it fetches data? Well, for example, does a database need to be sorted to form binary searches? Does it do basic linear searches in the where clause? Does it use some mapping indexing to make the search constant? Okay, so here's how that works. In an RMDB database, you have your table structure, and you create your table. It is stored. I have a video, one of the videos. I don't know if I posted it yet. I may have. If not, I'll relink it when I post this one. So it's stored, the table is stored on the drive, and it's sorted either by what's considered the natural key or a primary key that you create. So, for example, let's say you made a table customer and you had customer ID and you had social security number and all these other things. If you did not set up a primary key on that table, the SQL engine would decide whether a customer ID or social security number would be the best column to index by. You, however, can determine the primary key index being that, or it's also referred to as a clustered index. Basically, that is the column on which the table is sorted, and it's not necessarily stored that way, because it's stored on a drive in bits and bytes, and it's not like you can't look at and see the ID, customer ID, and there it wouldn't be stored in order. And this is why. Let's say you inserted like 700 customers, so your ID went from 1 to 700, and then 65 of your customers dropped, and they're just random numbers between like 1, 3, 5, 7, blah 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 blah. And then for some reason you decided to reuse those IDs, so you deleted customers 20 through 45 out of the 700, and so the database, when you inserted the column, the initial rows, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it stopped at 700. You went and deleted 10 or 15 from here, and let's say you started 25. So, and let's say you went and renumbered, so those numbers would be reused. 25 would show up down here, then 26, 27, 28, and so on until the numbers were reached. Because stuff is written on the disk in the actual time that it was written there. It's not going to be resorted. There is a separate metadata that is the sorting, if you will. So the column isn't actually part of the table. It's a separate entity altogether, stored in it. It can actually be stored in a different place, not on the same drive. So when a select is done off of the database and you're using the primary key, it goes to that metadata little sub-table over here that's just the ID exists on, and gets the information that you're looking for, and then goes to the real table where the real storage is. And because it's got pointers from the ID to the actual data is, it pulls that information. So that's how that works. This is a very high level. If you want to get into you want a deeper answer, set up some time with me, and I will whiteboard it out for you, so you can understand how it works. And like I said, I did this in RMDB databases. Now, when you're talking about containerized databases, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So I will talk about the containers that I've become more familiar with, like Docker containers using Kubernetes. So the difference between an RMDB database, like an Oracle system, to a containerized database is pretty much nothing, except you can't log into. It's not like a virtual machine where you can log into and affect the database from there. You have to use a front end like Toad or what we're using, Console, to do it. But it's the same structure inside the container in Docker and Kubernetes. Docker is using Kubernetes, that is. So it's the same as RMDB databases or RMDB databases, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are. Now, some applications like Splunk use a flat file for their database. So it's not really a database, it's just a giant flat file. And in those, there can be no indexes, there can be no structure, it's just a dump of data. I think those are the two things I think of. I mean, like Excel spreadsheets or other spreadsheet applications can be considered databases. They are not RMDBs. RMDBs. They can be indexed to a certain extent on an Excel spreadsheet, but not true indexing like you see in an RMDB database. Access, even though I don't like talking about access, can be that is indexed. That is sort of an RMDB database. But don't ever use access. It's friends don't let friends do access. It's just the thing. So I hope that answers your question. There is, like I said, there is a deeper answer to this. I do have a video that I'm going to I'll share with this answer in the comments. But it's a good question. It's a really good question. I happen to like the deep dive and how the mechanism works underneath, how everything operates under the covers. So like I said, if you want a deeper answer, ping me. We'll carve out a half an hour, 45 minutes, and I will whiteboard it for you. Okay, thanks for the question.